You know, one of the comments that I got very frequently from these 3 videos that I did just recently on these various attacks is people saying this is one of the reasons why we should bring back altar rails.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Do you think that that would help cut down on some of these attacks, or not?
I'll say this: I'm in favor of bringing them back for a number of reasons. That's not the first one that I would think of, right? And I think that anybody who's hell bent on attacking a priest, that altar rail is probably not going to help stop them, not going to deter them very much. But I do think that altar rail is good. I believe that the sanctuary is a very special place. And we ought to have reminders that it's such a special place. We ought to have physical reminders that tell us that this is where 2 things are happening that don't happen really in any other religion, right? Mm-hmm. Even in some Christian denominations, this isn't what's happening, where you have the place of the altar and you have the people, and that those 2 places meet, okay? So the altar rail, some people think of it as a barrier or a separation, but I don't think so. I think it's like, okay, when 2 people kiss, they are not divided by their lips, right? Their lips is where the lips, it's where they meet, right? So that's what an iconostasis is. That's what the communion rail, the altar rail, is actually the old iconostasis. There was a rood screen in the West. You had the rood screen, which was just the Western version of the iconostasis. And that kept shrinking and getting smaller and smaller. And now it became the place where people still come and meet the Lord, right? This is where they come to receive communion, and the priest sort of pierces that veil with the body of Christ, right? But you want those 2 places to be held with some sort of like integrity for the 2 spaces. So having a divider between the 2, I hate to even call it a divider, but have that place marked with a communion rail or an iconostasis in the east, something like that, I think is a great idea, and I think it's a good thing. And I think it would keep people from casually walking up into the sanctuary, which happens a lot. And usually I don't know, I always get irked when somebody just kind of marches right up into the sanctuary without any sense of reverence for for the fact that they just crossed the line into a different kind of a space where a different kind of a thing is happening. So I think it's important.
Yeah, it seems to bring a little bit more awareness of holy space. This is not common and ordinary place. And, just reverence, I guess, for the sacrament itself. It seems to facilitate that. Yeah.
I was reading a book not long ago that it was describing some ancient liturgies. I mean, really ancient. We're talking about the first few centuries. Yeah. And apparently they used to build these churches with a bridge, like literally a physical bridge inside the church, right, that went from the sanctuary to the nave. And the priest with communion would walk out onto this bridge, and communicants would walk up and meet him on the bridge, and receive communion that way. And as strange as that sounds, it is a beautiful concept, right? To think about people being so aware that what's happening right now is so special that you would have an indoor bridge from the sanctuary to the nave, right? Or in the east where there's a door, and the door features prominently in the liturgy, right? I mean, there's depending on which door you can't even go in and out of this door unless you are the priest, and it is during the liturgy at the right time. Every other time you should use one of the other doors off to the side, just because that symbol is so important, that there's a meeting of 2 worlds that's happening right now, where the sacrifice is happening in the altar, the recapitulation of Calvary, and then where the people bring themselves to that spot,